Hey, welcome back to the State of Scrims podcast. As it was last night, it is still an episode of the podcast. Still aren't sure which one. I didn't bother to check. I would guess it's the sixth one of the second season, but your guess is as good as mine. We had a lot of good games going over the course of the week. We actually didn't talk about Metabusters versus Rift Sharks yet, which Mason reminded me of yesterday. So that actually means that I was incorrect about 4 predictions in a row instead of incorrect about 3 predictions in a row. As I said yesterday when we tried to do this before, the world told me that we weren't doing it. Well, I am disappointed about the results. I feel like most of the series were pretty good. We got some good games going in most of them. So while I am upset about myself being inaccurate, I am really happy that we got a bunch of banger series to watch.
Yeah, they were all certified bangers, I will say. Yeah, just all fun games to really watch. If you have the time, go watch all of them. In my opinion, I don't think there's a single one that's like resident sleeper. All of them have like pretty exciting outplays and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I would
I mean,
recommend all of them.
Mason's simply happy that his team went 4-0 over
Surely
the course
that's
of it, but that's fine. It happens. Well, we don't have to worry about stats not being in this time, which is kind of nice. But
sure.
let's kind of kick it over, and we can kind of step through these series. Let's take a look at the first one, which was Metabusters versus Rift Sharks. Okay, so I'll address the elephant in the room. This is by far the worst series our team has played, maybe ever, maybe including last season. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot going on. Mason actually told us an incorrect roster, which was
no, I was asleep,
right,
and then I
but
woke up for the.
no, but I messaged Jacob, and I see a message from you. I think it's a message from Jacob, right? So
It's a message from Jacob. I was not involved in the fucking
no.
issues with team
I
builders.
can bring up receipts, but you sent in season discussion the correct roster, but with Noah in instead of Jacob, which was pretty
Okay.
close to what we thought it was. So we were kind of going with that. And then as we open up draft, since I have to pull up the stream, which I didn't realize I had to do either, so I'm all getting that set up. We're not all 5 of us are even in call at this point. Not all 5 of us are in call until halfway through draft. So all this shit is going crazy. And then I go, shit, we don't even know the roster correctly. So I default to what's on the roster tool. By the time we get that all figured out, we're like totally just fried when it comes to draft. I kind of forget what we even drafted that first game.
To be fair, I didn't think your draft was that bad.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, okay, so we first picked the Udyr, which was according to plan, and then, well, we didn't allocate enough draft resources to stopping the Twitch, which was obviously bad. Stops Twitch is crazy, so shout out to him there. And then the Master Yi pick was something that we hadn't prepped for, which I think is super valid. That's fine. I see Twitch and I go, oh crap, I kind of forgot he played this champion. What do I do? And then I'm like, what beats Twitch? And I was like, oh, we can just do Cogmilia without thinking about the fact that that is probably just a bad pick. I think the lane in itself is fine. It just doesn't like do anything. And then I think the our top side wasn't bad, but we kind of fell apart from there. Taxi had a really good game there, but I think the rest of us were all just kind of tilted, and that just carried over into the next games. I feel like Taxi and Eric both had pretty good series, but I think the rest of us just didn't have our heads in it at all. Obviously, I think Metabusters played really well. Stav's Twitch is a beast. Garrett on the mid lane, which we haven't seen all season. He didn't lose into Taxi, which is very impressive, and Mason played out of his mind. Rex criticized his own performance in the first game, but I think he played super well in the second game. But yeah, there's kind of a lot to unpack there. I think the next matchup between our teams is going to be a lot more interesting, though.
Oh yeah.
I will just throw myself under the bus and say that I got way too tilted because I was just kind of disorganized, and I was not happy about having to stream the game and play the game at the same time, and
yeah, it was a bit of
kind of ruined my team environment a bit.
Yeah, it was just a bit of unfortunate circumstances happened before the game as well. So, a little unlucky, but it is what it is. Sometimes it shakes out like that. I don't know. I think the draft went pretty well. I don't think you should ever really prep for like a mastery counter pick in like 5v5. It's like kind of unfeasible to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't
Well,
think
I
it's
mean,
like
we know
the
about it
worst thing
now,
on earth.
so
Yeah, but it's like it's sort of the one and gun kind of pick. So.
yeah,
But yeah, very fun series though. I will say I had a blast playing the games. I think Anne actually did pretty well into like a very impossible Udyr matchup. Like, that's the secret, by the way, team. The Udyr side of this matchup is actually fucking unplayable. Like, they nerfed his stun duration from 1 second to 0.75, and Master Yi just fucking kills you every single time. It's very illegal. So, yeah, pick Master Yi. I have no counter picks for it. I promise. Just slam that into my Udyr, I promise. It'll be okay. Anyways, but yeah, running this roster with Rex was a lot of fun. It was a good roster, so yeah. Probably like the less interesting of our rosters that we ran this week, in my opinion. I think the one with Rex and Cam and Stav is also pretty cool, but we can talk about that later.
yeah. I
So
mean, I look at this roster and I just go, well, this is the best roster you can run. So I don't think there's too much to talk about for it.
yeah,
I am
it
glad
is
we
one
got
of
to
our
see it
better
play.
rosters.
I don't know. I wish we were just more focused when we played against you.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's very tilted after that series. Uh,
yeah,
but it's what it is. And it'll have better headspace now. Then the next day, you guys played again.
yeah.
Still
We
didn't
did
drop
the
any
back to back.
games. We actually just restreamed this game today, so it's kind of fresh on my mind.
This one was
I
a certified banger.
Yeah, no, I like this one a lot better. Alex and PB looked super good. Specifically,
Yeah,
Alex, I think across these two games looked really solid. Garrett again on this Lux is just such a pain in the ass to deal with. Andromeda did end up picking it away, which I think worked out really well. Except
yep,
Cam just camped the ever living shit out of Stanley, and then that makes his life hell. So it's just a bit
yeah,
unfortunate. It's really hard to ban against this team just because there's so many like role possibilities you have. Like Rex can probably play three roles here.
yeah,
Same with Cam. Garrett can play probably two of these. I think with this lineup, like there's too much stuff for you to be able to prep for, which is pretty
yeah.
unfortunate. Um, but yeah,
Definitely a more interesting roster in my opinion. But I think Rex also on the Kha'Zix is a little grody. Uh, but yeah, not anything too surprising honestly. Champ's really good, like I've been saying. So I
yeah.
don't
I mean,
know.
one thing I do want to focus on in this series is like the top lane matchups. I think
Yeah,
Andromeda definitely should be spending more resources to ensure Alana can get a good matchup. I feel like all three of the champs that she plays, they all have like, or the Alawi and the Mordekaiser, and then the Shen and this. So the three that I'm talking about, not the three that she plays. Poor wording.
yeah,
They all have one counter pick that if you take it off the table, I think it just becomes a lot safer. I think you could argue the Olaf is an issue with the Mordekaiser as well, but drafting around an Olaf is just super difficult, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I think Andromeda would be doing a lot better if you ban, if you're picking Darius, or if you're picking Shen, get rid of Darius. If you're picking Mordekaiser, get rid of Fiora. If you're picking Alawi, get rid of the Mordekaiser. I think if there's a situation where you know for sure that the enemy top laner won't be playing them, I think that's a different situation. But all those matchups are just so perma bad that there's literally nothing you can do about it. A lot of them you could just kind of roll your face into the keyboard and get a lead. So if you do have someone like Cam or Stav who really knows how that champion works, then you can get a lot bigger lead than you could if you don't know what you're doing.
yeah,
And I don't know. Like I guess you'd have to give up, I don't know, a Hecarim or a Darius ban. I think the Darius ban being fine is being gone is perfectly fine if you have the Mordekaiser because that matchup's basically winning for Mordekaiser if you know what you're doing. Um, and then in the previous game, if you're picking Shen, you don't need to ban Pantheon. Um, like you really don't need to ban Pantheon because his matchup in the 1v1 there is like really solid into Panth, and then you have your ult to counter Pantheon's ultimate.
Yeah,
You just see who Pantheon's is going to go on. You have the defensive Shen ult. I think you're super fine there, but then as soon as you give over Darius, it's just brutal. So I
yeah,
think just paying more attention to the top side of the map and just like looking at solo lanes, I think could be more
yeah.
beneficial because I feel like PB has a really good grasp on the rest of the map, but I don't know.
I do want to say, I do like Alana trying out new champions. I think the Shen is a new pick from them. So we love to see expanding champion pools and stuff like that. That was pretty solid. Yeah, with his first non-Lux mid champion, so that was kind of based. I do also want to shout out Jonah picking the Xin Zhao. I think Xin Zhao is actually really good right now. So, um, pairing it with like a somewhat enchanter like Renata feels really good. Uh, I think Blake was talking about how you probably want like a bit more enchanter like champions with the Xin Zhao. I tend to agree because I think that champion could get super accelerated with like enchanters, but I do like the style that they were kind of going for there with like the Xin Zhao being like quasi engaged with like the Renata W. I think that was really interesting to try out. So props to them for that one. So
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think I tried to shout out the Jhin when we saw it initially, so I said something in like season discussion, and then
yeah,
did try and point out again when we recast the games. But I don't think there's necessarily like too much to unpack in the series. I think it's pretty standard from what we've seen with Andromeda. I think their bot lane does pretty well, and then I think every single part of their top side usually has a few moments that they really stand out throughout the series. It's
yeah,
just I think with a little bit better draft planning, you can get some safer matchups, and then you can really see the engine of like Jonah, Lana, and Stanley start working together and get stuff done. But
yeah.
just
Agreed.
feels like you're missing like one puzzle piece to get them just to the
Yeah, they're
baseline
they're
of what they
really
need.
close. I think.
Yeah,
I have.
yeah.
All
I
right.
think playing against like we've seen, what 3 out of their 5 games have been against Metabusters and Spectres, which are just appearing to be the best teams at the moment. So
Yeah.
getting to see
None of
him
us
play
is
against other
unwashed TM.
teams would be good.
Yeah.
Okay, and then MVP versus New York Nutbusters. I think
This was a game
this
of all time for sure.
are these the correct players?
Yeah. Yeah. Should be.
Oh, I didn't realize Dominic played the Amumu. I
Yeah. Mike was.
just assumed
There
Will
were
was on
some
Amumu for some reason.
scheduling issues. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I knew the first game was right. I just thought the rolls were off for the second one. But
Yeah.
this I'd say again, pretty much just what we expect from the Nutbusters. I feel like kind of obscure drafts and really, really good top lane performances from Adam. I just don't
Yeah.
think it was enough in that first game. And I think just obviously it's tough for them because they had zero time to prep. Mike not being there. I believe
Yeah.
he did confirm that he was going to be there at that time and just went to work. I don't really know what the miscommunication was there, but obviously an unfortunate happening. But
Average
um,
Scrims and communication moment, I think.
yeah, I feel like I wasn't actually able to watch most of these games or any of them because I was driving at the time. Heroic going 24-1-2 on Echo is disgusting.
Yeah, you have like a really free matchup on Echo here. These two very squishy and mobile champions, bot lane, just walk down there, drop your fat nuts on their face, and then they're fucking 1v9 through the rest of the game. It was kind of gross from what I
Yep.
saw. Game one, Adam almost was able to clutch it out, but the rest of MVP was playing a very monk mental. So shout out to them for that one. But yeah, definitely, definitely a good series to watch. Some unfortunate mishaps in game two, but overall a fun series. So
Yeah, I mean, I think looks like I played a pretty good series there as well.
yeah,
And I feel like Valor and Liz seem like they performed pretty well across the series. I expect it is a little tough for them to look too clean into Will and Michaela. I feel like that bot lane's pretty solid. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I and Heroic just look like the, the synergy mid jungle combo is just super strong there. I
yeah,
do like that Booz is learning a new champion, but I would recommend not learning a champion that has a 42% win rate or whatever the hell Cassante has.
Also, Cassante is like not an easy champion by any
Right.
measure. Like,
Like he's
you can
definitely
make the
like
memes he's
a
a tank, but he's like a bit of a skill testing tank in my opinion.
yeah. I
Like
mean, I
there
feel
is some
like
micro shit with that champion. So
too many people are just like, yeah, just like learn Cassante, like he bails you out. Like this champ sucks. Like he's nerfed to all hell because he has to be, so he's not broken in pro play. And
yeah,
champions like that are hard. Like playing Azir
yeah.
correctly, very difficult. Playing Aphelios correctly, very difficult. Um,
Playing you can make the
yeah,
meme that Cassante is like a tank that like takes like no skill, but this champion is actually kind of hard. Like you do have to like do ability sequencing and like knowing when to go all out and stuff like that. This champion is not as simple as people make him out to be. So I
yeah. I mean,
do
I would just
appreciate the
say,
effort, though.
word of advice to people who just tell their top laners to learn Cassante: don't do that. He's really hard and he's really bad. Um,
There
people
are way
who
easier
got
champions that have way better payoff.
right, people who got really good at Cassante when he was already strong and then already know how to play him, I think it's fine for them to pick him in a 5 scenario just because he does do a lot. But
Yeah,
it's basically impossible to learn how to play the champion just because of how much he sucks right now. I think I don't want to do all of MVP's work for them because I think they're a pretty good team. But Puza has a very good macro play style that he's very solid at. Pick champions that go with that play style. Don't
yeah.
I don't
Cassante
know.
also is not like a split push oriented
Right.
champion.
Like
Like
you need
you,
to basically he in terms of mechanics and macro is like the complete opposite of Yorick, and I feel like Puza looks pretty solid on the Yorick. I don't know. I think I don't think the Cassandra would be bad into some of the top players in this server, but obviously into Adam, it's really tough because Adam can just exploit basically everyone top. I don't
yeah.
think anyone's consistently looked good into him, so it's just been a little rough. I would like to see Adam into Avery at some point, but we'll have to see.
We
All
will
right.
have to see.
Anyway, I think we can move on from this one. Iron Heroic
Yeah,
just
tearing it
absolutely
up on the
carried that
rift still.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously a little biased, but this is also the only 3-0 series or 3-game series that we have to talk about. So I think
Yeah, this one was a bit of a certified banger.
I think that this one is
I
really good.
cast all three of these
Yeah.
games, so go check it out. I think I did a pretty decent job of casting with Alana.
Yep.
So
I can kind of give a rundown of what was going on here. Basically, Taxi was supposed to be playing.
yeah,
We were doing our warm
but
ups with Hadiri because Taxi took a nap. Taxi wakes up to find out that his internet doesn't work. So he's trying to scramble to fix that, and we go, well, I guess we probably just need to run Hadiri. We're still not really sure up until game time, so we didn't figure out our drafts as much as we would have liked to. But
yeah,
something that we did have prepared was the Heimer pick into the Nautilus. I don't think Ezreal is necessarily the greatest pairing there. We did have like a basically perfect read on what they were going to draft
yeah,
for the first few picks. So I think draft went well. I'm not a huge fan of the Belveth because the Maokai and Swain aren't really able to support it in the way it needs to in the early game, which if you
yeah,
watch the game, they exploited pretty well. But I think even
yeah,
if that does happen, we also did need a leash for the Belveth. Maybe we didn't
yeah.
need
I
to,
pointed that out in the
but
cast.
on Heimer, I really did want to just be in lane and set up. I tried to get the turrets down early, but uh, we were just not really thinking super clearly. Didn't drop the ward, and Mythic hits me with a really good hook early. I believe I burned the flash and die, which completely screws up everything we're going for. With this
Yeah,
comp, we really need to get the ball rolling and then stay on top of things. And getting put behind early, I think there was basically zero chance of success from there. So Spectres did a really good job of just tightening the grip on us. Never really gave us a chance to get back into the game, which was really
yeah,
solid. But I think, unlike our other series that we discussed this week, we were able to keep really solid mental. We were not tilted at all during the first game. We felt
yeah.
like we had a chance to come back at one point, which looking at the gold graph afterwards is like actually psychotic. Like I don't know how we ever thought that, but no, I mean I feel like we stuck in it pretty well. Moving on to game two, Spectres clearly was trying something out in draft here, but
The
we
Sigma male
drafted.
bard mid kind of based.
Yeah, I mean it was funny. I'll give him that, but I think we drafted
I think,
to our team comp strengths a lot better in the game two, and that one
yeah,
was pretty much just as one sided as the first game. I don't think it was. as much of a stomp, but I think Gruer just got a few early kills and became really tough to deal with. Just rotated around the map with Rammus really well and just kind of
Yeah.
harassed us. But
Oh wait, why are there two Swains in the game too? That's really funny. Someone did not put Ivern instead of Swain. Oh well. But yeah, this game two was a really interesting watch. I think Spectres for playing like the kind of comp that they did, it was okay. I think this comp is a little grief. Like obviously they have the double 80 carry setup, but like I think they were pretty even in gold the entire time versus Ref Shark. So I thought they did a good job of keeping themselves in the game, kind of.
I don't think they were actually. I think it was the same goal graph as the previous one, where it just kicks off the game and just only goes one direction the entire rest of the
Yeah,
game.
yeah, but
But
it's like the goal difference was only ever like 2K at most throughout the entirety of the game. I just thought the game was like a lot closer than uh draft would tell you. Um it's also just like I think there's like some really interesting itemization from Rift Sharks. The Ash build changing from lethal tempo auto attack base to like a lethality setup poke. I think that was actually like a pretty smart adaptation from Michael to like prevent the Remus from just killing you over and over again, and then like it still provides like the same utility because I think you have enough DPS in this style of comp, so that was really good. But I also want to talk about game one a little bit. I think the Bel'Veth in theory versus the style of draft that Sharks or Spectres was going for with like these four like dive in melee champions. Her E just sort of like says, yeah, good hustle, good try on that one, but weren't able to get it off the ground. Pointing out that the level one leash that you guys had to do bot lane did sort of like fuck your lane over, and I did point that out in the cast. And I think Avery just like it's really hard to blind pick tanks into Avery
yeah,
because like he'll just slam a Darius and then it's like, well, what do I do as the tank player? I think Joel had a really good rune itemization or a rune setup where you go phase rush instead of grasp, so you just do WQ and then just sprint away from the Darius before the trade completes and he gets his 5 auto attacks off. So I did like that sort of uh adaptation from Joel. Shout out to that one. But overall, you saw Caesarius just walking into Hidiri's jungle with Prio from mid top, and just
yeah.
taking everything from Hidiri. It was a really good series. Super good coordination from Spectres. So
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Spectres after the series, and they were like, "Well, we were kind of guessing on his jungle pathing, and we kind of guessed right like 12 times in a row, so it was kind of just
yeah,
doomed for him." But
yeah,
yeah, I mean,
that
I think even if that does happen, if we had drafted better and set him up, I think we could have avoided something like that. But
yeah
you know,
maybe, but
I feel like Rift Sharks had their game two draft in game one, and then Spectres
yeah,
does their well. We stopped the first game, so we're gonna do something funny. They've pulled that a few
yeah.
times. They get punished for it sometimes. They've definitely won.
Sometimes,
They've won some of their funny games. So credit where credit's
yeah.
due there. And then going into game three, I think.
This is where the game of League of
Oh, this
Legends is
is
played
this is
for sure,
also not correct. Hold on.
isn't it? No, it is.
Well,
Oh
and
wait,
didn't
An's
play
on.
Ash
Yeah.
mid.
Oops.
I can tell you that
No, I'm
much.
still getting gapped by Logger. He was on Silas, or she was on Silas, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll
I
fix
do want
that
to
real quick.
criticize and Silas here a little bit. If you're having Diana, Ash, and Leona ults, you should not be this useless on Silas. I'm sorry. Like, uh, there's no way you have those kind of ultimates and cannot output damage on Silas.
Okay.
It's
To
just so
to
illegal.
be to be fair, having Yasuo in the game is terrible for Silas, which we knew
That's
when we
true.
picked it. We go, I think the ults are worth it, and Talia absolutely bodies Silas as well. So this is like genuinely
Yeah.
a really tough Silas game. We made a tough
Yeah. I
call
will
here
agree with that.
because we felt Anne was pretty comfortable on the Silas, and even though she was playing into a stronger player, we thought it was probably maybe not the right call, but a correct call. Because other mid laners that
Yeah.
we were considering would just get countered super hard by champions that we had left up, which was a bit rough. So I think the real issue that happened for us this game is we have control as long as we never let any like huge amount of gold get infused into like Avery or Gruer or Sarvers
Yeah.
here, because the Diana's always going to have to engage, and we should just be able to kill her pretty quickly. It
Yeah.
just matters how much DPS the rest of the team can output. while we're killing her. And
Yeah.
we were doing a really good job of this. We were actually ahead pretty significantly, and we just chain entered into Avery and gave them an ace for free, and the game was over at that point.
Yeah.
Because
I
as soon
do want to.
as the team fight comp can team fight and just never lose, it's basically just over.
Yeah.
Windwall completely stopped Silas or Michael from doing anything that game, so it was just unfortunate.
Yeah, there's an
But
argument. I don't know. I saw when I was watching Michael play. I think he just randomly became like 100 CS down on the Ash, which is that was just I don't know. It's like you kind of want to stay on like even footing with this Ash, and he kind of wasn't able to. Um, I do think the Talia R5 was like really smart out of Spectres. I did
yeah,
really like that pick. It's really good into Silas. Um, I do kind of agree that Yasuo does kind of fuck over the Silas, but I don't know. It's just like having like a lot of these ultimates. I feel like if you make some more proactive plays around the map, maybe it goes better. But that's a different argument entirely. It
yeah,
was just a really fun series to watch. If you watch Avery play Yasuo, he gets like multi-man knockups in a couple of fights and just wipes the floor with Earth Strikes. It was a really cool series. Later on, he sort of unbinds his Arky from the keyboard and then forgets to R off Darius's ultimates, which is very funny. But sometimes that happens when you're playing Yasuo Diana. I don't blame him. So
yeah.
that's my goat right there. Yeah, but game three is if you want to watch any game in particular from these
No,
last
no, no,
series,
no.
this is the game to
Rift
watch.
Shark
This is a
Spectre's
fucking
game two.
banger.
Rift Shark Spectre's game two. That's the
No,
one
no,
to
no, no.
watch.
I promise you, I think the game three was so much better to watch, dude. This game three was crazy
But
as
we did
fuck.
so well the second one. Therefore, it's fun. No, I don't know. I feel like we totally had that first game in our grasp. It is simply just very late at night for a lot of us because we all kind of wake up very early, and I think
Yeah,
just the mental fatigue. Think having to replan draft like multiple times throughout the day, and it just being late at night definitely took a bit of a toll on us. But
yeah,
definitely should have been able to close out that game. Just lost focus, and we gave over I think 2 consecutive 0 for 5 aces, and that just loses it from us. I
yeah,
think this is probably the closest any team has been to beating Spectres,
yeah,
because I feel like MVP's third and first games in their series were just kind of rough.
yeah.
But I don't know. I am
I
looking
can agree
forward
with that.
to getting to play Spectres again when we have side
Me
select,
too.
because red side was 100% win rate in that series.
Yeah, just getting the R5 counter pick for a player like her is kind of illegal, I think.
Right. Being able to cover either Anne or Joel for sure, depending on who we choose, or just if we have a different roster, whatever happens, I think. Just being able
Yeah,
to be in
there's a lot
control
of
of which
options
side
there.
we were on helps.
Yeah,
But anyway, I think that is probably enough for those 4 series. We already took about a half an hour of the time. So let's do predictions first, and then we can get into some based or baked, I think, if that
I'm
works
down.
for you.
Yeah, yeah, that works.
And
We
we
can
can,
rock with
you
that.
do the little meta investigation as well, because we have a lot of
Yeah,
games that just got logged, so it should be interesting.
yeah.
Okay, New York Nutbusters versus Spectres. This
Spectres to
is,
0.
I mean, yes, I agree.
The coldest take on the in the West, bro.
Right. I mean, I think uh, just knowing which rosters NIMB is going to be able to run, I think Spectres should for sure be able to take this. I don't believe we're going to get the matchup that we were looking forward to in the top lane, but I think Brewer versus Dave
Yeah,
is going to be really exciting.
yeah, I'm
Mike
hyped for
versus
that.
Cesario should be pretty cool also.
Yeah,
And I don't know. I think it should just be a few fun games to watch, especially if Spectres does the fun stuff they do in game two. I think we're going to see like we might honestly see a drafts combination that has never been experienced before in League of Legends ever.
yeah.
Someone
You
actually
can't.
ran the math on that, and that happens all the time because of how many combinations there are. But if any of our series were the one where that was going to happen, it's probably going to be this one, which should be pretty
Yeah,
fun. But
definitely game two of this
I'm with
series
you.
should be a hype watch. Yeah,
Yeah, if Spectres does win this series, then they will have beaten every other team, which is kind of cool.
yeah,
I think New York Nutbusters still hasn't played Andromeda yet, but I believe everyone else should have completed their round robin. If you want to go
yeah.
ahead and do predictions for the next one, I will double check what I just said
I'll say
because
Meta
I could just be
Monsters to
lying.
0. So I'm gonna say Manchester City. We literally just saw this matchup. I don't know what you want me to say about that one, Chief. Like, we just did this matchup. We kind of beat them pretty hard, so we'll have to see if we can get the run back. But I have faith in my team, so I don't know. Pretty cold takes from me today. Do you
Yeah.
want me to just jump straight to Mass Valorant Pirates versus Rift Strikes?
No, I was able to confirm it. Yeah, Andromeda versus New
Okay.
York Nutbusters after this week is going to be the only matchup we haven't seen yet, which I do think
Uh,
is going to be a pretty interesting matchup, so I'm excited for it. I'm going to agree with you that Metabusters is going to take it. I'm going to say 2-1 Andromeda. I think
for the
having that
culture.
draft knowledge going into that game, or going out of that game that they just played against you, I think should be able to help them out. And as we kind of
Okay.
talked about earlier, I feel like they're just one step off from doing really well. So
Okay.
I expect that to happen at least once. I also think it
Oh
really
wait, so
depends
do
on
you
what
mean
roster you run. But
2-1 Andromeda or 2-1
two on
Metabusters?
Metabusters. I think Andromeda's going to
Okay.
take a game though, and I think
Okay.
they're probably going to look good throughout the whole series, provided mentals stay in check. And then MVP versus Rift Sharks. I'm excited. I haven't gotten to play against MVP yet this season. Our team obviously did, but I wasn't off the bench for it. So I'm going to call 2-1 here. I'm still a little hesitant to predict 2-0 Rift Sharks because our drafts have still been a little funny. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we're in a pretty good position. Obviously, Heroic and whichever of the two junglers they're going to run are going to give us some trouble. But I trust the top laner that we're putting against Puza, and I trust me and Eric in the bot lane. So as long as we're able to mitigate their kind of two carries in the mid jungle, I think we should be very much fine. And I think,
I'll say Rift Sharks won as
yeah,
well. So
I don't know.
I'm okay
I
with
should
it.
just stop talking so I don't leave draft. But
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
I'll
know.
cut you off there.
I'm kind
You're
of with
good.
you. Thanks for the save, Mason.
I got you.
All right. Let us dip into the meta.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is giga boring, so we can just do a status or
Base or baked.
yeah. Well,
I don't think
Maokai's at
much
the
is.
top. We have Maokai, Geist, and Nautilus. Okay, ZZZ, I think, is the take here.
Yeah.
But we
Um.
did see more Kassadin, which is fun, and they're buffing Syndra. But
Yeah, that's not too surprising. Cassidy is just really good. In like a setting where you can guarantee him last pick, so you don't get ultra countered by it. This champion is just fucking gross. A lot of Poppy presence for
yeah,
Joel.
see, this is
Very
actually,
popular.
Russ played it once, and every game Joel's been in. Or actually, no. I guess because MVP didn't ban it against him. So that means it's been banned 3 times where Joel wasn't in the game, which I guess is interesting. So it's drawing bans from other people. I
Yeah.
honestly am not really sure. Like, okay, it was banned. Huh. Whatever. That's research for another day. But anyway, Joel is like permanently not allowed to play this champion, which is cringe. You should let him have Poppy. Surely his Poppy isn't very good anymore because he is out of practice because he never gets to play it. Consider this.
Okay.
Start banning Neela more, guys. I think you really need to do that one. And then I don't know. Syndra getting buffs is really scary. Zaya is still
We
high
have a
prio,
lot of good players
still
in this era.
terrible win rate, but
Yeah. I
Nautilus
think.
is the one to look out for, in my opinion, though. High pick
Yeah,
rate, high
Nautilus has
win
been
rate.
performing super well. Just has a lot of good synergies with the way teams have been drafting. I think we've been seeing a lot squishier top sides. Like top laners have been playing more like carry stuff. So you kind of want some sort of front line on your comp, and he sort of fulfills that kind of role. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
that was most.
there are a few other champions I actually do want to point out here. I think Echo and Darius are a bit on the rise. A
Yeah,
lot of people who are comfortable on those champions, they're both 4-0 right now. Absolute
they
terrors.
just have a lot of carry potential as well.
Yeah.
These champions tend to start snowballing super hard. Udyr is weak, guys. By the way, I promise. You should just let this champion through at all times.
Yeah.
Just
I
slam
mean,
the mastery
clearly,
keep
if you
it.
can beat it with a million mastery point Master Yi, then that just means it's
Yeah,
bad.
the champion sucks, dog. Come on now.
Yeah. And then the other one I wanted to point out, I just completely lost it. Oh, Twitch. Twitch has been on the rise a lot recently, but I mean, Will, Stav, Michael, all kind of known for
Yeah.
their Twitches, and they've been seeing as a collective, more games recently. I know Will sat for one of his games, and then Stav wasn't playing, and I think Michael was also not playing that week. So we just,
Yeah.
there wasn't a lot of Twitch presence, and now all these players are playing, so there's a lot more Twitch presence. But that champion is also getting buffed. I don't believe that the auto attack travel speed is going to be like a huge buff. It's definitely a buff, but I don't think it's going
It'll
to
be
have
solid.
crazy impact. Fingers crossed. I don't want fucking busted Twitch because I don't have to play it and then ugh. But oh well.
Yeah. I think Lily is on the rise too, but that might just be because
I
me
think she
and
was actually higher
Darius
prio
play.
earlier. I think she's been falling
Really?
off. She's been getting more bans, but she didn't show up at all in the MVP series. I don't believe. Yeah, it
That's
wasn't
fair.
wasn't banned, wasn't picked. It
Yeah, it kind of
feels
feels a little
like Aya had been banning it or had been picking it into the Udyr, but just banned Udyr twice against a team that doesn't even play Udyr. So it looks like she's decided I ain't playing Lilia anymore. I just don't want to deal with Udyr, so I'm just going to be banning it, which I do think is interesting, but I don't think that the Lilia priority is going up. I would say it's going down, if anything.
okay.
Do you think it's
Interesting.
interesting that Joel has 16 games and no one else has anywhere close to that? Or not,
That is sort
two
of
games
funny.
falling off. It's just because I believe he's played in every single one of our games, and
Yeah,
no one else has, which is interesting. Heroic
yeah.
and
I think
Puza, the other big players, but
yeah, yeah, pretty much. Not
all right.
really much to say there.
Yeah, well, we can go to baked or based. Surely nothing important was messaged to me. No one is apologizing for the falsely entered champions. I just hope everything else is right. Bans are a lot harder to mess up, and I think we would have noticed other things. But I totally forgot to pull up the baked or based takes, so I will be doing that right now. We have 25 to get through, so I somewhat doubt that that is actually going to happen. But one can always hope. Okay, I just got to get this set up correctly, and then we have about 23 minutes left, so maybe we can get through it. All right, then the dragons one we already did. I don't. This one's an interesting one. It's not a hot take by any means, but I am just evaluating if it's correct. Gore Drinker and Shojin is the new Chem Tank meta and won't be fixed properly until preseason.
This is baked as fuck. I think this meta is so wide that there's no way you think Gore Drinker Shojin is as prevalent as Chemtank was in jungle. Uh,
That's what I was thinking.
Chemtank was unique in the fact that it literally made every single jungler play Chemtank,
Yeah,
and I don't think that's the case for this current iteration. I think the only outlier is Jarvan, and Jarvan is on the downtrend right now. I
he got
believe.
nerfed
If
pretty hard. I think
yeah,
he
the
dropped like
passive nerf
3% win rate
actually
or something.
yeah, the passive win rate actually kind of matters on that champion. Uh, but outside of him, I don't think there's like a single other champion that's building Gordon Shojin like
That
off rip.
that wouldn't do it
I don't
normally.
even think.
Like I feel like
Yeah,
Jin does, but Jin probably would do that anyway.
Zin is like
Or
not even super strong right now in meta. I think like
okay,
Kha'Zix is still building assassin. Stridebreaker, if anything, has been a bit better in terms of like uh champion usage. Like I just don't think Gore Shojin has been that strong like at all. It's good on the champions it's good on, but I don't like champions like Nocturne and like Kha'Zix and Rek'Sai all have better builds and build Stridebreaker. Hakrim's building Stridebreaker instead of Gore. It's like I think Shojin is a bit of an outlier in terms of strength, but I don't think it's because it's synergized as well with Gore. I think it's just Shojin is a better item, and Gore is like
yeah.
situationally good on some bruisers.
I'm a big fan of the Shojin Jace. I feel like it's really funny to watch him drop down one gate and then get two accelerated shock blasts from it. Very goofy. But I mean,
Wait, you
obviously,
can do that?
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
awesome. What the
If you
fuck?
get it like third or fourth item and you already have the Manamune and Seraldas, oh, it's so funny.
That's so
Obviously,
sick.
we're seeing this a lot, and actually, I believe we saw it in LCS as well. But in LCK and LPL, obviously, they're picking that champ a lot and getting that done. But I believe that's still going to be happening at Worlds, which honestly, I'm a fan. I think Jace is actually really interesting to watch because the non-NA Jace players, and to an extent, Palo Faker, pretty good on the Jace as well. And Mr. Xenophobia, I think, has a decent Jace.
Rest in peace, our go Evanis. Hashtag I stand with Evan.
Dude,
This is a bit.
I'm
This is a
sad that
bit. This
he's
is a
not
bit. This is a bit.
benching them for Diplex in the middle of Worlds would be so funny for the content, but there's no way it's happening. But I don't know. The really good Jace players can make plays that you just gasp in shock at what they're pulling off.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, TL is the American team I will be rooting for since FlyQuest and EG are both out, and TL's third on the tier list. But APA will probably not be playing Jace unless he's managed to learn it in the last month. So a little sad about that, but I don't know. The LCK and LPL mids playing Jace is going to be super entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, I doubt we will see that many Gore Drinker Shojins at Worlds.
And also in scrims, I don't. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't think
we've
people have
seen
like
one.
the tools.
Jonah built
Which
it,
one?
but Zinzao was the only one so
Um.
far. But
Yeah.
all right,
Well.
moving on. Okay. I don't know how to word this succinctly. But Metabusters needs to up their busting to compete with the Nutbusters.
Nah, that's based. That's like ultra based.
Yes. Why can I
That
not
goes straight in the
change?
base tier, bro.
Yes. My text tool hates me. Okay. New York or NYNB are the real meta busters. And we'll
That's so
lowercase
raw.
meta. There we go. Okay. That's super based. I think that's just accurate. Is it off the side of the screen? No.
Nah.
Perfect. Okay. Good take. We love whoever just put that in there.
Super based.
This one I'm undecided on. I think there could be merit to it, but the take is Bean should replace Avery for good. I
Uh,
personally am going to elect based because I know that their scheduling is held back so far by Avery not getting to know his work schedule that if you just plan on running Bean every series and then if Avery's off work, put him in, fantastic. But I'll let you factor in on that.
um, I don't know. I don't think I can slander my go Avery. I'm gonna have to put it in baked. I love Avery. That's like what I think I played or didn't play, but I was on his team last season. It was a lot of fun. So, love that guy. My weak side detainee. I didn't put him on weak side every game, despite the lies that the fucking liberal media will tell you. But
I think it's funny that he changed his name and then immediately got put on Orn. I thought that was pretty solid, but
yeah,
no, I
no,
mean
that
I
was
think
tough tier. That was tough tier.
I'm good with the baked here because I think the for good is a little scuffed. The only part I'd agree with is the just default on planning for Bean for scheduling purposes, but I think Avery and Bean both have upsides. I wish we get to see more of Bean though. I thought he played really well, and I'd like to see some more
Yeah, his 80 carry was
champion
also
play.
really good. So like
Right
I
in the
think there's
preseason.
like a lot
Yep.
of options. Yep,
Okay.
agreed.
Moving on, we have any two area of effect abilities should kill champion minions. Example, Nefiri, Belveth, auto attack being an exception. Baked?
Wait, what's the take? Can you type it out? I cannot
Yeah.
conceptualize this take.
I guess it's just champion or like summoned creatures should be easier to kill. I guess.
Okay. I if it's summoned creatures that are easier to kill, I think it should be a little bit easier to kill.
Okay, but
Because it's like a
this
weird
is two abilities.
gatekeeper.
Two abilities is their take.
Um, nah, I think it should be like ability auto maybe. That's already killing most summoned creatures, so I think this is just a baked take, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the champions where you can't do this to them already, they would just suck complete ass if you could, and I feel like if you make all of the champion minions bad, then they lose some sort of identity. I feel like if you
Yeah,
are
I
just a
agree with that.
hater of summoners, I think that's one thing. But like if you take Yorick for example or Malzahar, like I think you could just one shot all those things anyway. And like Zyre plants are really
Yeah.
easy to kill. But Heimer for example has like a lot tougher turrets, and Nefiri and Belveth are the two that they gave an example of. But Belveths are supposed to like recreate lane minions, and I feel like they do a decent job of that. But I don't know. I just
I
feel like
think the Furies is arguably like the weirdest one. Like, it. I've had this issue with Nefiri where it's like I don't feel like her dogs are really like summonable creatures. They're sort of just like skill shot blockers, and they don't really
yeah,
like change how she plays, which is like a gripe with the character's design more than anything. But I don't know. It's hard to implement like summonable champions in League. So
yeah. I mean, I my take on the Fury is I feel like if it was really that much of an issue, they would have been nerfed by now. Like I feel like obviously Riot misses some
yeah,
things, but I think that would be something that would get
yeah.
hit.
And she did
And
get nerfed like 4 patches in a row. So
right, I don't know. I think obviously it's really irritating, but I think trying to figure out how to play against the dogs is really interesting. And obviously, if she does burn E, she recalls the dogs. So
yeah,
just being able to time your skill shots around that
I'll be right back.
is the counterplay. Okay, well Mason is gone, so I will just use my own opinion on these takes, I guess.
Alright, I'm back. What's the next take?
Uh, Cassidon bans uh, equal more AP tops?
No.
No. I'm going to say that's baked. I think the reason that people don't play AP tops is that people don't play AP tops. I don't think Cassidon being taken off the board is going to do
Um,
anything. Their reasoning for it is that Cassidon is a good answer to the popular Mordekaiser pick, but I don't like. While that may be true, I don't really think anyone's picking Cassidon to counter Mordekaiser, and I definitely don't think that's like what people have in mind when they're like, "Oh, I should pick Gwen here," and then they're like, "Fuck, we didn't ban Cassidon." Like
okay.
I'm just not
I
following
think
it
I think
personally.
the take for AP tops is really you need like 80 mid and 80 jungle before you really want to lock in an 80 top or AP top, and nobody in our server plays 80 mids except for like a
I
few
would argue
people.
or. I think you need an 80 jungle or an 80 mid. I don't think you need both.
Yeah. I feel like the ranges for AP tops is like a lot more niche than
I mean, if you look at good
other
AP
stuff. So
tops, you have like probably
Mord and
Kennen,
Rumble. Kennen.
Mordekaiser, Rumble, and Gwen are probably like the big four we're looking at. Forgive me if
Yeah.
I missed anything, but Kennen's hard to
Oh,
play and is situational unless you're really good at him.
yeah.
Mordekaiser, we already see a bunch anyway.
Uh-huh.
Rumble, people just have this aversion to playing this champion. He's literally free low, by the way. Like, all you have to do
Yeah.
is have good knowledge of how team fights work, and if you hit good equalizers, this champion is like actually so good. I wish that I could
Yeah.
play top lane here because oh my god, we'd be seeing Rumble all the time, and it would be super entertaining. And then Gwen, I think, is just
What is also hard, I think,
right.
is
I
the
think
one.
Gwen is picked about the same amount of times that Fiora is in general. Like if you take pro play as an
Yeah.
example, I think they show
I think
up
even in our server we
similar
do pick one
times.
a decent amount.
I don't want to say that because I think Fiora has been picked more like
Oh
significantly
yeah,
more
yeah,
this
yeah.
season.
Yeah, I
If
will agree,
we
but
just go by picks, Fiora has 3, and Gwen is sitting at. If I can find her, let's see. The issue is I can't find her. Yeah, I'll go by alphabet. Gwen's been picked twice. She's also been banned a lot, but yeah, I mean, I guess they're just both pretty situational, like carry tops. If we look across the board, Fiora is sitting at about 43 picks, and Gwen's at about 25. So she is a little bit less popular, but I think that's because of what you were saying, where you kind of need to not have AP elsewhere. But
yeah. I also think AP junglers are just like good in our server, like Diana, Lilia,
yeah,
uh, Arthas, I guess if your name is Hadiri and you're cringe. Maokai
so
can build
mad for
AP.
what?
This champion is so boring, dog. I'm sorry. I'm the number one Karthus hater. This champion's yawn. Even Fiddlesticks, back when I played Fiddlesticks, I think Blake used to play Fiddlesticks. Like AP junglers have just been good. Like, and they also want like AD mid and AD top side. So like,
Yeah, I
I
mean, if
just
you have
don't
an
think.
AP carry jungler, then you definitely need to slot a double AD, which is
Yeah,
unfortunate.
which is
Or tank an AD.
way better.
It's just
Yeah.
tough. But
So I don't think there's any correlation between Cast and Man equaling more AP tops. Is this like a carrot take? Do we do like the carrot core take
my
or like
guess
the
is
Jacob's take?
this is either an MVP or a Spectre's take, if I had
Okay,
to guess.
okay,
But I mean that
okay.
that does include Psychic
Well,
Carrot in the umbrella, I guess. But
yeah, I was about
if
to
you're
say
willing to out
second
yourself,
carrot
we
is
would
one
like
of
to know
those
for the
teams.
content because I like the
Yeah,
way you're thinking, and I do think Cassidy is a good answer to the popular Mordekaiser pick. I just think you're giving us all way too much credit and like actually thinking about the shit, and we totally don't.
yeah. We'd love to get
Yeah,
you on the pod. Get
this
your
is
opinion.
not
Thank you.
flame. I just like I think you think we're way too smart, so I just want to know out of curiosity.
Yeah. All
Anyway,
right.
moving on. Biased casts are better than professional casts. I think that's L
Based
take.
Sigma male. No, I think that's so based. I feel like when biased takes are like you can actually hear the passion people have for the game, and
Mm,
it creates
see,
more narratives for
I
like people to
think there's
actually
a
enjoy the game.
difference because if you look at all the leagues, right? Like LCK is by far the most biased cast, and
Yeah.
people slam them for it all the time. Like this is just generally like if you go with the populist argument, this is by far a big take. I
Okay,
I
but
think
okay.
okay,
In terms of scrims,
biased
I feel
take.
like it's based though.
No, but biased cast does not imply you're rooting for a team at any point during a game. That's
Okay.
the take here is just rooting for one
Okay.
team the whole time, which I honestly don't actually really think happens that much. But I don't know. You could argue like Caesarius's cast was a little biased because he talks about jungle the whole series, right? Like he has a clear preference to it, which
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's like
I
bad per
think I
se,
think
and
the
I
same
think
thing. So
that's
it's
also
like
just a
it's
downfall of having a solo cast. But um,
yeah.
I think casts where like I would argue professional casts are casts where you are rooting for both teams at a point during the game, and I just don't think there's an
Yeah.
argument for
Okay, okay. That I can
yeah,
agree with if that's your definition of professional cast.
right.
Yeah, I'm
I
down
mean,
for
I
that.
think that is what it should be.
No,
I
I
think
agree.
I think if you want to argue that a biased cast is better than a cast where no one is excited about anything, I 100% agree with you. Like I'd rather hear someone get excited and root for one team than someone get excited and root for zero teams and just like narrate the
Yeah.
game with no enthusiasm. But I don't know. Like I just think a good example is like if you watch the T1 series, they've gotten a lot better about it in like the past year. But like a couple of years ago, you go, well, T1's gonna win. Let's see if this team has any chance. Haha, no, they don't. And then like I don't know. Honestly don't think that's really a problem that we have because I think everyone kind of knows those casts suck. But I don't know. It's what it is.
True.
Noam's not a bias caster. I was simply memeing. TM.
True. Like
Uh, just based on this season's performance, Spectres has the best player in every position. I'm sorry, but that is a big take.
yeah, that's probably the worst take. Is this the No, that can't be. Anyways, but yeah, Spectres does not have the best player on every position. I don't even think if you ask them, they have the best players for every
I think
position.
that is just really hard to do. like I don't think that's
Yeah,
ever been
that's
true
just
for
not.
any team in scrims ever.
That's just not how the point system works. Maybe you could argue like some arcane season, like way back in the day
But no,
when.
I mean we have all scrims voting results. Like
Yeah,
I don't know. I think having top two in all positions is fairly common, and I think maybe I could get behind that. But yeah, that's
that's a pretty
wild.
big. There's no way. Field, yeah.
Yeah, looking back through it, like I think you'd struggle to find a season where the first team doesn't contain players from at least three different teams. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even last season, like Blake, Taxi, PB all first in their roles, but then me and Cam are both first as well, so that covers three teams. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that is just simply not true. I think Spectres looks really good. I would
Spectres looks
argue
good.
I would argue against the fact that Spectres even looks like they're like unbeatable or as good
Yeah,
as NYNB did last season, but obviously that comes down to just like a little of personal opinion. But
I
we'll
think
see.
it's close. I think they look
Yeah.
pretty close, but
I think you could make the argument that Metabusters has this best play in every position if you allow Rex to play like 5 positions.
if you count
but,
Rex playing in five
but no,
positions,
I think
maybe.
Heroic or Gruer has mid lane, so I think that
Yeah,
that
I don't
locks
think
it
he
in.
competes with
But
either of them for mid lane. So
yeah, if I had to just rattle off the top of my head, I think it's Adam, you, Heroic, and then want to say myself and Eric, but
yeah, that sounds something like that. I could agree with that, but
yeah, I mean we'll see. I
I
think
like how you listed like 0 Spectres players in their top 5 for each
well, no,
role.
that's what
Or
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The argument is you could argue top two for every role. Like I think
yeah,
second best top you have Avery, second best jungler Cesarius is a solid argument. I think I
yeah,
is the other one you want to mention. Brewer is definitely second best mid if he's not the best mid. Sarvers is definitely up there for ADC. Support's the only one where I'd have to give a nod to PB there. I think PB and Eric are probably top two, but
yeah.
no,
I think
I
Cybers
think
could be arguably top 1 for AD carry, in my
yeah,
opinion, just based on the way he's been playing. But
yep. I mean, I would like to actually get to play that role into him. To be honest.
that's true. I would like to see that too. Honestly,
Yeah,
that
I
would be
mean next series, we've talked. We're going to make sure that we can actually run real rosters. So
based.
we'll see. Because our availability between the two of us is really bad. Like a lot of stuff doesn't line up.
Yeah.
So oh well.
All right. What's the next take? Go.
Jin mid is sleeper OP. Haha XD. No, sorry.
I
If the
like you're
take
playing it.
if the take is Jin snowballs like fucking crazy, sure. I think that's fair. I don't think it's like sleeper OP. I think it's probably about
Is
as
this the
people
next carrot
think it
psyop?
is.
Is this like him psyoping
Well, I
his
mean,
preparation?
wouldn't this be a Gruer take after he played it? Like,
True.
I don't know.
Maybe
I don't think it was like a terrible pick there, but I think OP is a little
a little,
we're off our
a little bit
rockers
of a
today.
stretch. Yeah.
Okay, we have about 2:45 left, so try and chug through a few more of these. Normalize playing weird champs in real weird roles like tank 80 carries and mage tops. I don't think we need more mage tops. Those aren't those are just cringe, I think. But
True.
I don't I agree with the statement until the examples personally.
Yeah.
I hate to say another big take, but all
Yeah,
inclusive.
we're stacking up some big takes here. That's crazy.
Rough night.
Rough night for the Scrims Zone squad,
Yeah,
bro.
I think
Y'all holding some L's over here, bro. What's happening, dog?
I don't know. Like playing off meta, yes. Playing champion classes in roles where they're gonna get eaten alive is bad. Like mages top are good, and that happens. Like I don't even know if that's weird champs and weird roles at that point, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Unfortunate. You shouldn't get MVP for doing an ungodly amount of damage by existing based as fuck. Holy.
Wait, based as fuck, but who the fuck is getting MVP for that?
I think it has at least been floated around that is a concept. I don't know if there's examples, but I like the
Against
take enough
Mythic
that I'm putting it over
MVP.
there.
That's crazy.
There was one that people mentioned that, and I forget what it was. It was definitely a series that we took part in. I don't know. I'd have to remember, but it was definitely like a jungler or a mid just did a shit ton of damage, but like the support was low-key carrying or something. I don't remember. I remember one of my teammates brought it up. I just don't remember what the game was. But I
No,
don't think
that's a
we.
really base take.
I don't
I'm
think we could
just
argue
saying
it's a good
to all
take.
my support brothers out there, I got you. I give it supports MVP in a lot of my series that I cast. So
Okay,
I'm just saying, dog, this is not me, bro.
Mason,
You cannot put me on this cross, dog.
this one's cooking. This one's cooking. Dean should
Okay,
buy
okay.
Mason a new alarm clock.
True. Based. So based.
See, the
honestly.
thing is, I don't gotta buy you a new one. You can have the sonic bomb. I don't need it anymore.
True.
This shit is gonna blow you out of bed, bro. Okay, we have. Oh, let's just do one more. We're technically a little over time, but
Who cares? We'll get an extra long, or we'll get a bit of a longer one since we cut the last one, or the last one got, uh, fucking nuked, I guess.
yes. Okay. Uh, we cannot torture Taxi on stream for content.
True.
I assume this is
Base.
referring to his sick cast.
That's real though.
I think that's fair. To be fair, he offered to. I was like, you really don't got it, but bro is over it.
Yeah, but then you guys dragged the game out for like 20 minutes, bro. Don't fucking lie.
Oh,
Come on
okay.
now.
I wasn't sure what the take was, but okay, that makes sense. Yeah, we'll do another. We'll do another.
Yeah, we can do some more.
You're not
chill.
ruler. Stop blocking Zaya. Okay.
That's base. That's so base.
Okay, I will have to caveat this one.
Are you
With-
the white ruler or what?
So true. No. Okay, see, we pull up a little a little stats.
Yeah.
If the stats page is still up. Oh wait, I'm still not showing Chrome. Okay, there we go. No, wait, I was showing it. Hello? Oh wait, here we go. Then we go to champions for this season. We go to the Zaya. And 04, 04, 13, 2-1. 5 KD. That's all I have to say. I think. And Sarver's also crazy, by the way. I just think the general populace should not be looking at the Zaya. I think this is not the Kaisa counter pick or a strong meta champion that you think it is.
So do we make the joke? Is the joke valid? Are you the white ruler?
I'm the white ruler wannabe, I think.
That's crazy.
Oh my god. Do we hit one more for the culture?
Yeah, we can do one more.
I want like one more baked one to end on. Oh, this is just long.
This stream is the takes are pulling up in the stream.
Oh, yep. Thank you.
Yeah,
This is like just such a plain take. I'm not even gonna. People should be picking that comfort champion when it's left open. Okay, yes, correct.
Yeah.
Talk to
wow.
death. Good one. Good one,
Bland
guys.
ass take, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah, this is captains holding people back in draft. I think is the Dean is racist against top laners. I am a top lane enjoyer. I would say this is in fact not true, but
Yeah.
okay, we can end here. This is factually incorrect. Oh well.
Another day.
I feel like this. Okay, this is
Stacking
probably Joel take because I put him on tanks all the time. I put him on tanks all the time because our team, if we have a history of just not drafting tanks and then losing. Like this is just
this is Joel
years
because
of
the
construction.
enemy team is fucking always picking range top laners into him, and he just wants to be dead like
Right.
all the time. It's.
I mean, I think also I will say like if our opponents every game are Zaya top, Samira top, Vayne top, I think we win more games of those than we lose. But I don't know. I will say there's a lot of draft discussion around finding the right angle to pick top laners where Joel can have fun. And I'm definitely not opposed to picking people that comfort champions top that aren't tanks. However, Joel gets a lot of his champs banned every game. And always people enjoy saving a counter pick against him. So I would say Scrim Zone hates Joel is a more accurate take. Especially if you look at the number of Poppy bans. But no, I don't dislike top laners at all. I think you can also say this about the fact that which lane do I talk about every fucking podcast episode?
This is true, actually. Dude is
I'm a
top
people's
lane
champion
player,
of the
bro.
top lane. I hate to say it. Do we hit another one?
Sure.
It's like the slots. I understand, you know. He is terrified of the mythic matchup.
Real. That's so real.
That's
That's so big.
bars. Oh, okay. Let's just throw that in based, and we'll look at the drafts for those four games, and then I think we can call it. But oh, I got a few more DMs after the top laners take. I hope no one's upset. That's silly. Um, okay. So if we go to the games, we have Andromeda versus Spectres, Milio into Leona. I would say that's a bit courageous. Then taking the Leona into the Nautilus, that's okay. One point towards that take there. I'd say the Milio is a bit you're egoing a bit, so I think that is doesn't read to me as scared personally. And then
Sure.
the last one is going to be all the way at the beginning. Braum and Alistar into Nautilus. Yeah, I think there's some validity here. I will say that PB is probably the one calling for the Nautilus to be left open every single game. Or I guess they banned it. He banned it at the end, so I don't know. If PB had left Nautilus open all four games, I'd say this take is baked, but nope. So sorry, PB. I don't wholeheartedly agree with this one, but it's so funny to call it based for the content.
Sure.
All right. Well, Mason and I are done our Wumpus vacation now, so we will probably return back to our normal dwellings in the next episode of State of Scrims. Thanks for watching. Any last words, Mason? Till you get Sonic
No.
bombed? Okay.
Have,
Good night,
watch all
everybody.
the series. Yeah.
True.
Good night.
Good night.